like to bring upon the most exciting group that's been sitting in this house since 9 o'clock this morning. If I can have the entire delegation of Nigeria just come up on the stage. I want them to walk in together. So starting with Abun Faluda, who's going to be our moderator for this panel. If I can have you on stage. Are we in search of her? I'll have all the lovely ladies just follow Abun so we can make a statement with the Nigerian delegation. We're running, we're running, we're running. This is beautiful, beautiful. Welcome, ladies. I love this. Look at these colors. For these lovely ladies. I cannot get enough of them. I swear to God. Welcome. I just asked them. So we're going to leave them behind.
Hello, ladies. When we say hello in Nigeria, we expect a hi. Hello. Hi. Because we want you to be happy. If you're happy and you know, say hello.
Hello.
If you're happy and you know, say hello. If you're happy and you know, and you really want to show it, if you're happy and you know it, say hello.
Hello.
Thank you very much. My name is Adesuwa Onyenokwe, and I'm with the Nigerian delegation, as you can see. Obviously, our wonderful MCs can't get their tongues around those names.
Oh, we can.
No, they can. Okay, I'm going to give you a shot. I'm going to give you a shot. The first one is easy.
Not with the accent, but...
No, it doesn't, but you can get it. It's a matter of practice, but it's okay. Let me give you Okutiyon. Abimbola. Try this one. Abimbola. Abimbola. Anyway, not take much of your time. I'd just like to say very quickly that those who are not in this hall are missing out. Not only are they missing out on the wonderful talk that you're going to get, and the stories of these wonderful women, amongst the several women, we have the largest delegations in the house. We're about 30 women from Lagos, Nigeria, from Abuja, from different parts of Nigeria. We're here because we believe in building bridges. But I will let the first person who's going to tell us about that share a little bit of their experience. I'd like to invite Ebun Feludu, who put the team together, actually. She came here 2 years ago, and she spent the past 2 years trying to convince all of us, you must be at WEF. And so we are 30 today. Very soon, we'll take over. We're coming.
Good morning, everyone. It's so wonderful to be here. My name is Ebun Feludu. I run a company called Plug Media, and recently it's become Plug Media and Resourcery. I came to my first WEF 2 years ago, and I actually came with a small group of people. But when I had a conversation with Dr. Abin and Elder Vilnay, I said, look, I'd like for this to be an opportunity to build bridges for our women. So they're coming for a conference, that's fantastic, but I'd like to see them have conversations, B2B conversations that will advance their businesses. But I want to just start with a little story. I've got 2 boys, and Anabore and Joba, my older son, is 8 years old. And a few weeks ago, he got back from school and was really teary-eyed. And I was just like, what's going on, And he said he was having a bit of trouble with some math in school, and he was just weeping and saying, if I don't get through this, then the next generation is going to have a problem, and then the next generation is going to have a problem. And I was just like, this is much too deep for an 8-year-old, Like, don't worry about the next generation. I'll worry about that. Just work on yourself and, sort this out. If you focus on this math, you'll get through. I remember calling my friend Bissy, who's a life coach, and saying, what have I done to this child? Like, what have I said to him to make him this way? And I kind of think I know what I did. And it's about vision. And we talk about that a lot in our family. We talk about the vision that we have for ourselves and the need to have a vision so that all of the moving parts in your family, in your organization, in your church are able to rise up to that vision and just kind of have a unifying value system that makes you to be a better person. And so that is sort of like my driving principle in life. I feel like because I'm here, the world needs to be better. I need to leave the world better. And it's crafting a vision and myself rising up to that vision and the people around me also doing the same. The world can be better. So the vision I had here when I came 2 years ago was, look, these people, and I'll tell you what they did. My family owns a coconut processing factory, and at the end of the conference, they hosted me in Bangalore and connected me with all of these coconut companies. And when I got back home, our family vision for that particular business grew. And now we own 2 factories, and we're one of the biggest coconut processing companies in Nigeria. And, that wasn't enough for me. I wanted that experience replicated for other women. So when Dr. Abin said to me, oh, Ebon, bring 15 women and bring a delegation, I simply shared that story. I said, look, these are amazing connections that you will make in this. Indian women, I think you guys are incredibly hardworking. I will speak to a 25-year-old, a 30-year-old, and I'll look at her CV and it'll be like she has like 3 or 4 lifetimes in one CV. She's done this and she's done that. But at the same time, you're very centered and in touch with humanity and how to move that forward. So my vision, for myself is definitely to move humanity forward. And what I cared about was to create the same sort of opportunity that I had 2 years ago for the Nigerian delegation and the women that we brought here. And I'm really happy about the conversations that we've had and the progress that we've all made in our businesses. And so what I just want to leave you with basically is just touch your heart and touch your soul a little bit to what your value is that you're bringing to the world that will make the world better. And if you have that vision and you're able to plant that vision into any system you have, whether it's your family or your organization or your women's group, and everyone is able to catch that vision, they will elevate and their lives will be a little better and the world will be better. So my message today is vision. Let's make the world better with a little bit more vision. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ebon, the visionary. Now I'm going to take you, Ebon lives in Lagos. My next guest lives an hour away in Nigeria. It's called Ibadan. I call them guests because I'm a radio presenter and a TV presenter. So forgive me when you hear things like guests. But she's my sister today. So the next soul sister is Abimbola Okutiyan. She's the CEO of BAME's Living Gardens. Can I hear this, Shekere? We call this, just quickly, please, in my country and where she comes from, actually, among the Yorubas, this is Shekere. So let's let Shekere go. Shekere! Shekere! Shekere!
Hello, everybody. Such a big room of beautiful women. So glad to be in India this year with WEF. Growing up as a young girl, I lost my dad at the age of 14. So that left me with my mom to raise 5 children. And what that did to me was I was able to pick up her entrepreneurial spirit because she had to raise all 5 of us herself. And she worked so hard and smart And unknowingly, I had imbibed the spirit in me. And that earns me the name as a young manageress, as a young girl. And everybody kept calling me the young manageress of the family. Growing up, I wanted to do medicine. And at the end of the day, my cutoff for medical school didn't come up. And I think I tried about 4 times. And I ended up doing botany. Now, I did botany grudgingly. Botany is the study of plants. But at the end of 4 years of studying plants, I fell in love with nature. And at the end of 4 years, I fell in love with nature. And immediately I finished school, I started a company called Beams Living Gardens. And we tried so much to foster a relationship with humans and plants, and it blossomed so much. This is 25 years fast forward, we're still working with plants. But coming to India has opened my eyes to see that we need to step up floriculture in Nigeria because we have the land, we have the climate, we have the people. And so I'm really looking forward to taking floriculture to the next level from this conference, where we begin to grow plants on a commercial scale, where we begin to do tissue culture, because I Googled that in India, and I noticed that the nation is really big on tissue culture, and we have so many industries here. So I'm looking to collaborating with as many people that are into floriculture, who would open our eyes up to tissue culture, who would open our eyes to commercial floriculture, so we can grow and take floriculture to the next economy as a nation. Thank you very much.
Right on time. She didn't want to spend more than her required time. You see, like I told you, in Nigeria, there are lots of women, just like in India or anywhere in the world. Any woman who's here is capable and able, and she lives the Taj spirit. Can I say that? Right? Trust, awareness, and joy. So let me see some joy in the house, man. Where's the joy? Where's the joy? Okay, I'm going to break protocol. We have a list, right? We have 8 women up here. I'm going to call on the only person who has the green, white, green flag on her. So that's going to distort what they're doing there. But her name is Ngozi Oyewole. Ngozi Oyewole is from Nigeria, an iconic woman from Nigeria, powerful. She's a multidisciplinary. She's an actress. She's an entrepreneur. She's in the oil industry. She's in all the industries. And she's a mother and a wife.
Yeah,
She'll tell you about that.
Oh, my God. Thank you. Well, no need calling my name again. You know what it means when you come home and you see your childminder abusing your child? What happens? The job in the office just goes what? Down. And you ask yourself, what next? And you're sitting down there, and you're bringing up your children. I had 3 children back to back. And then, of course, I had to be a stay-at-home mother. And I was there for 10 good years. And some of my friends would say to me, why did you have to go to university and pay international fees, and then just to come back and be a stay-at-home mother? But then in 2001, something new happened. I founded Noxie Limited. 19 years ahead, you know where we are? We're the leading manufacturer of office furniture. Bespoke, world-class. We're also, Noxie Limited today has 5 divisions, and we've moved into facilities, integrated facilities safety, and we're into drilling equipment, offshore equipment, PPEs, coveralls. We also have our own brand of Noxie coveralls. The furniture is locally made, but you know what? They can compete with the international standard. Noxie Limited has all women and just very few men. Apart from all that, well, I'm also, a few years ago, I was recognized by, let's not take it too far, by Forbes magazine as one of the leading women entrepreneurs in Africa, championing business sustainability and women inclusion in business. Okay, I'm not very, I'm quite organized, but I'm going to put this together quickly because we're running with time. Quick. I organize skill-based empowerment programs for the widows. I've got 450 widows that are under my belt. Okay, I'm also very privileged to mentor some girls in Bangalore through the Sherry Blair Foundation. So in all this, all that has kept us going in Noxie Limited is what we call ideas, innovation, innovation, devotion, efficiency, accountability, success, and efficiency. So when you're in this sort of situation where you think, oh, because you're a stay-at-home mother, you will never amount to anything, tell yourself, no, there's more to come. Because you know what? For me here, I am resilient, I am result-driven, and I'm an ace-woman entrepreneur. Thank you.
Look, you have to forgive Ngozi. Ngozi she acted too, she didn't tell you that. She didn't tell you that she was an actress at some point in time in our own Nollywood industry, so she understands the whole figure. I'm going to take you now. Ngozi is from where we call the eastern part of Nigeria, and I'm taking you to the northern part of Nigeria, where we have, we have someone who's very good with clay. What can you get from just a piece of clay? We were made from earth, For those Christians, that's what we believe, right? For her, she turns clay into fantastic products. She has one of them. Welcome, Khadijat T. Bisala. We call her KTB. KTB in the house.
Hello, everybody. This is so exciting. Are you excited to be here? So, as Ayo said, my name is Khadijat Bisala. This is the clay pot. This is the vase from my state, Niger State. I come from Niger State in Nigeria, and it's in the north central part of Nigeria. So I come from a royal family. I'm proud to say I'm a princess. Not only that, I'm a prospective queen. We're the only kingdom in the northern Nigeria that still maintains the queenhood.
Your Highness.
Yes. And growing up has been exciting. The whole of the system I grew up in was one of development. My grandfather was the first educated northern Nigerian emir, and he instilled in my parents, who instilled in us so many things, and giving back was part of it. I was brought up to understand that I'm an ambassador to my people. Wherever I go, I must represent well, and I must be what they want us to see as leadership or as an ordinary person. So that being said, we kept wondering how to make it good, how to make it better. Niger State has the highest mass land in Nigeria. Niger State has about 4 million, 3 to 4 million population, unverified. And we grow so many crops. It's one of the hubs of agriculture. So what do we do about it? We're an untapped potential. We need to make the agriculture work. We need to make so many things work, like the pottery we have. So people go to China, come to India, and buy some exotic pottery. We can do this in Niger. All we need are the equipments, and this is when India will come in. So we've made our research, and we've seen that you've got lots and tons of equipment. We're the home of shea butter. We own the largest colony of shea trees in the world. So what do we do about it? We need to make shea butter. We need to process. So we show our women how it's done. So we decided, okay, we have to give back. But how do you give back? You need to make yourself better to be able to make other people better. So I went for the quest for personal development. So I'm an alumni of the Enterprise Development Center, which is the best business school in Nigeria, Lagos Business School. And I am a Sherry Blair mentor. I'm a Goldman Sachs 10,000 Women Scholar, and I'm the president of Goldman Sachs Abuja. So many things, Coca-Cola, youth mentorship program. So we have to give back and make our women better. So 3 years ago, I decided, okay, I can do this. And I'm a registered Global Entrepreneurship Week hostess for Niger State and Nasarawa State, 2 states. And I have like 200 to 300 small businesses that I'm mentoring. And we need to put our hands to ensure that they grow and they get to the level where they need to be fully independent and productive. So I hope we can do this together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Royal Highness. This Shekere more Shekere. Thank you, Your Royal Highness. Right, Shea Butter resides in Niger State for those who want to build those bridges. I'm going to call on somebody who's very strong in education. By the way, she's a royal princess, but today she's recognized as Khadijat, KTB, is going to be recognized as an iconic woman creating a better world for all. Angela Ajala creates a better world for children. If children have a better world, then our world will be better. The future is assured. Angela Ajala also is head of an entrepreneurship group of women in Nigeria. She has a team of them here today. We call them, where are the ladies in the house? Our web ladies. Right, they're here. So now she's going to be receiving an award today for an exceptional woman of excellence. Just hear her speak, and you will agree why she's getting that award today.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, sisters. It's a pleasure to connect with you. There's one question that resonates with me that Martin Luther King asked. He said, life's most persistent and urgent question is, you should ask yourself, what are you doing for others? 20 years ago, my family changed location and we moved to Abuja, which is the Federal Capital Territory. When we got there, I joined the first international NGO called Business and Professional Women. And I volunteered to support and to do their work. One of the first things we decided to do was to open a school for indigent girls that had dropped out of school as a result of maybe teenage pregnancy, maybe money and all that. And so we set about getting the curriculum, establishing the school, getting the relevant regulations and certifications to make it work. In putting out myself to serve, I didn't know it would pay me back. This was a new territory for me. Later, 5 years later, I was ready to open my own school in Abuja. I was operating from Kaduna State before. So when I started, and I went about trying to get permission on how to open it, because I had served, and that's where service comes in. When you serve, when you light the path for others, your own path gets brighter, very clear. And because that had happened, it was easier. Anywhere I went, people wanted to support, people wanted to help. It's also very important that we are intentionally kind. You know, it's something you must grow. You must be intentionally kind because it pays back. And over the years, the school has enjoyed the kind of concessions and privileges that I'm very clear was not by anything I did. In the first 4 years of the school, they had a competition in the entire Federal Capital Territory. And our school emerged as the best performing secondary school in the entire city. And that was like, we're young, and we're wondering, how did we get this? But one thing we keep telling the children, service, you must give back. You have been privileged to come to a private school, and so you must return that service, that gesture, you must give it back. And so we keep telling them, if your presence cannot be felt anywhere you are, your absence will never be noticed. Clearly, anywhere you go, if your presence is not felt, your absence will never be noticed. Wherever we are, wherever our children are, our presence is continually felt, and our absence is always noticed at any competition, at anything we do. And for the women we work with, it's a great privilege to work with them. And we tell them, anywhere you go, leave a mark, leave a legacy, give service. The more you serve, the more you're serving yourself. It is a full circle, and we must learn to pay it forward as we go in life. Thank you very much.
Pay it forward. If people don't feel your presence, have you felt the Nigerian presence here, ladies? Okay, so if you don't see us next year, when we bring you to, hello, move to Nigeria. Yeah. When you feel us, you miss us, right? Now, we came here, yes, we paid our way, yes, but we had some people who do work and decided to support, ensuring that we got to stand out there. One of those persons sits atop a business that is we call it the oily business. Everybody knows when you talk Nigeria, you are thinking of oil. Oil, that's how we call it. But it's petroleum. Now she's in the petroleum industry, and she'll tell us about it. Just last night, we said you must speak because one of our sisters couldn't make it here. So, if the butterflies aren't dealing with her stomach, I'd like to ask that Godray Ogbeche of Rain Oil comes and share her own inspiring story. This lady was riding a motorbike at age 15.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, hi.
Hello. I'm sorry, I'm not used to this. My name is Godray Ogbeche. I'm the co-founder of an oil and gas firm that started 22 years ago. But before I tell you about my company, I will tell you that I am a girl from the back side of the desert. I grew up mostly in the rural environment. I went to secondary school at the age of 12. My parents were elementary school teachers, and they were specialists in working in the rural area. So I was not exposed to much of what is urban life until I was 12 years of age, and I went to a boarding school. And that was the first time I lived and worked with electricity in my life. So most of what I learned about life and how to dream and how to hope for a better future was during my secondary school days. Fast forward some years down the line, I was able to go to college, graduated, and got married, was in the workspace. My husband was in the workspace. And then my husband felt like there wasn't so much to be just living from paycheck to paycheck and needed to start a business. So we sat down in our living room and co-founded a business that was actually founded 24 years ago, but started business 22 years ago. That business started with the equivalent of about $3,000 at the time. $3,000 at the time. 22 years later, by the grace of God, we've been able to build a business that, as at last year, the total revenue was almost $500 million. We are operating in the whole spectrum of the oil and gas downstream sector in Nigeria, the whole spectrum of the oil and gas industry, and we are going into gas very soon. But the next question is, and so what? Who does that help, according to Nigeria? In Nigeria, they say, who he help? Meaning, who has it helped, and so what? You've built a business from $3,500 in 22 years ago to $500 million in 2018, and so what? And that is the what I want to tell you. And part of the what is that I support a lot of women endeavors. And why do I support women endeavors? Because when one woman wins, everybody wins. In Nigeria, when you are driving along the road, you know, and we are very chaotic with traffic. When a man drives roughly and passes by, everybody hails him. And when a woman drives anyway, they say, because she is a woman. So men's failures are attributed to the mother, to everybody. But the men's successes are attributed to themselves. But when a woman wins, the whole tribe wins. I was very happy when Dr. Habib said the word tribe this morning. It was like she took it out of my head, because I see women as a tribe, and when one woman wins, every woman wins. So as you go up the ladder, which is what I try to do, pull a woman along. And if you are that woman that needs pulling along, if you need to run, run. If you want to walk, walk. If you need to crawl, crawl. But make sure you find a woman to connect yourself to so that you can win also. But that is not all. There are a two-headed monster that as a company we try to attack and give back to society. And that is in the area of education and poverty alleviation. Because my husband and I are from very, very humble backgrounds. Very, very humble backgrounds. And we realize that the reason why we are able to do what we are doing today by the grace of God is because we went to school. And we want to attack that monster of lack of education in Nigeria and also alleviating poverty. Thank you very much.
We have our cues. We have our cues. When you see me, round up. Thank you, Ogbeche Godry. She didn't tell you about her motorbike experience because she was a tomboy. But this short lady can ride a Harley Davidson. Let's hear it for her. Godry. Okay. Please, I told you, always shake your shakere. Can I get any shakeres in the house? Thank you, Wef, for this. This might just be a souvenir. But I have in my hands books, 4 books, out of several books have been published by a woman who runs a company that does this. She's an academic. She's very quiet. But today I said all of us must have some essence of color, whether she likes it or not. So she has a bit of color on her wrist, if you look closely. Can you raise your wrist for me? There she is. After spending many years in the UK, she came back home. The madness of our country. But it's because we're so colorful, right? And she decided to publish a book. A woman publishing books. I have some of the books here. If you come to our stand, you'll find some of them. Publishing African authors, Nigerian authors, especially female authors. It's my pleasure to bring Dr. Bibi Bakare of Cassava Republic. She's shy.
Good morning, everyone.
Here are your books, madam.
Okay. So my story is very simple. As AO said, I was an academic, and then I moved to Nigeria to continue my academic work. But then I decided that it is not right that a lot of the books available in the country were foreign books with white images. And I felt it's important that society, in order for it to grow and transform, they need to see themselves in what they consume, especially children. Children need to look at their own image before they can look out of the window. And African children always look out of the window, never look at the mirror. And children need to look at the mirror first before you can appreciate what's outside the window. So that was the genesis of Cassava Republic Press. One of the things I want to say and leave you with is why I do publishing. I do publishing because I'm interested in the archive. When we think of the archive, we think of the past. But in fact, the archive is always in the present for the sake of the future. Okay? So I'm interested in creating archives that people will open up in 300 years' time, in 500 years' time. What will be the record of what we're doing today? It's what we'll find. If we don't produce anything today, what we will find is emptiness. And the global archive is very full, but is empty with African images and illustrations. And we need to produce more archive for African future. Not only that, when we think about African literature, we often think about men. So we think of Achebe, Ngugi, Soyinka, and the likes. So we can think about the 20th century as a century of African men of letters. Okay? I, along with other women publishers who are coming up in Africa, we're saying the 21st century, the 22nd, the 23rd century, they're going to be centuries of African women of letters. That's important, not just in terms of people who are writing, but across the value chain. So it's not enough to just have African women writing or producing. We also have to think about the production people. So for me, as a company, we're really interested in people who are doing production to be women, from the photographers to illustrators to the videographers to the publicists to the marketers. We have to think about all of that value chain. There's no point in saying we're supporting women's organization or women's initiatives and only employing men as well. I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't employ men. We should, but for every woman we employ, we're employing masses of other people. Every time we employ men as photographers, we're depriving other female photographers. So I'm imploring us today to think about the importance of having women across all value chain. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bibi. She's a feminist. I can understand. So now, my name is Adesuwa Onyenokwe, like I said. She called me AO. People call me AO. I am a storyteller. That's who I am. And I knew this when I was 9, that I was going to be a storyteller, because my brothers used to call me the reporter. Whenever mommy and daddy came back home, I'll tell them everything that happened in the house. So I am the reporter. Now, I've spent more than 30 years doing just that. Doing just that. But beyond all of that, I'm a mother of 7 children. I am 56 years old. I have 1 adopted child, and I went to the labor room 6 times. Now I have 4 boys and 3 girls. So, okay, 3 boys and 4. I lose count. So it's an indication of the fact that it's not a function of how many kids you have. It's not a function of how much money you have. It's a function of knowing what it is you want out of life and going for it. Now, I had those kids simply because I was exposed to a faith that I believed that I didn't have to block life. Now, but having to block life meant having to say, okay, I want 1 or 2. I did want 3. But by 3rd child, I became conscious of the fact how we know we are very religious. I'm a Christian, and I was praying very hard for a sister-in-law of mine who had been without a child for 8 years. And if you're a Christian, you understand what I say when I say the Holy Spirit convicts. And it says, you are asking for a child, and you're blocking children. So stay open. I'm like, God, I'm not even 35 yet. Why should I stay open? But I did stay open. And I ended up having 4 more kids after the number I wanted. And it was only because I said, okay, God, you know what you're going to do? If I stay open, bless my sister. And whenever you bless her, that's it. And he blessed her when I had my 7th child. He blessed her not only with 1, but with 2 kids. A boy and a girl. We know how we are in Africa. We like to have boys, right? And those kids were due on my birthday. So if you don't fear your creator, you better start to fear your creator now. He had set the path. But then again, my reasons for not wanting to have many kids was simple. I didn't want to have too many. And I didn't want people to laugh at me. But today, that's the conversation starter. So who is going ahead of you can take your dream to where you want to take it to, if you believe. So for us, I was here today. We are building bridges. I've been communicating first of all, as a broadcaster, then as a publisher. So I'm here hoping to tell the stories of all you wonderful women and share with as many people as possible. So somehow you might get up on Today's Woman, or you might be in Today's Man Conversations. Hello, my friend. You're there, all the way from Perth, with a wonderful story of the brain injury. When there is life, there is hope. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's me. But we end our session with our coordinator saying the last few words. I had prepared all my ladies. Are you ready, ladies in the house? Can you please rise? We can't wear these beautiful clothes and not catwalk. So I want them to catwalk on stage as Ebu gives her final words. Catwalk on stage. All the ladies from Nigeria. Catwalk. We are colorful. And, you know, I'm about telling women's stories so that we can build them up. I came here prepared to wear something else. And then one of my sisters, Delabic, produces things like this. And I'm like, why would I wear something else? So please, like Nigerian women.
thunderstorm.
You guys are infectious. Oh my God.
We want more of this.
When you say shaku shaku, we say bale bale.
Bale bale.
Bale bale. Bale bale. Bale bale. Bale bale.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you. That is amazing. I think I'm out of energy, finally. So we're going to do the awards now. And I would like to call upon Dr. Herbine Aurora. If I can find her. She's in the audience. Where is she? Oh, there she is. Selfies. Lots of selfies.
Inviting Ibn Faludu. Woo! Please accept the Exceptional Woman of Excellence Award at the Women Economic Forum in New Delhi. Ladies and gentlemen, the voice of Africa.
Now I'd like to call upon AOA to come up to come up on stage and receive her Exceptional Woman of Excellence Award. I love you, Bindi. Next, I would like to call upon Ajusawa on UOP. Welcome on stage, Exceptional Woman of Excellence. A big round of applause. Next, I would like to call upon Bibi Yusuf. Bibi, please come up on stage, Exceptional Woman of Excellence. Next, I would like to call upon Angela Ajala, Exceptional Woman of Excellence Award. A big round of applause. Next, I would like to call upon Kazizat Basala, iconic woman creating a better world for all. The Queen. Next, I would like to call upon Goizi Owoli. Goizi, iconic woman creating a better world for all. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for these dynamic women all the way from Nigeria. Let's keep the clapping going. They gave us so much energy. Let's give it back, ladies and gentlemen. May I call upon Godre? Godre is gone. Switching the awards.
It's all in the family. It's okay.
Ngozi Ayole.
Well done.
Yay! Iconic woman creating a better world for all. May I all have all the candidates to come up on stage and take a group photo. All of the amazing recipients this morning.